Welcome to African Tales by Chinwa. This is part 2 of Chuka and Mira's story, a tale of love, betrayal, and revenge. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, this episode will hit differently, so please go back and start from there first. Now, settle in, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. By the 4th missed call, Chuka finally picked Mira's call. "Mira," he said. His voice was shaking. There was a small pause on the other end, the kind of pause that meant she heard it too. "Chuka," Mira replied softly. "Where are you? You left the house so early. I woke up and you were gone." Chuka swallowed. He stared at the hospital wall in front of him as if it could give him words that didn't taste like sin. I got an emergency call from the office," he said quickly. "It was sudden. I didn't want to disturb your sleep." Mira sighed. "Oh, okay," she said. "I was just worried." Her voice was warm, trusting, the kind of trust that makes guilt feel heavier. "I am fine," he added, forcing calm into his tone. "I'll be back soon." "All right," Mira said. "Take care, okay?" "I will." When the call ended, Chuka didn't move. He just stared at his phone like it was a weapon he had used on his own marriage. He had lied to Mira. Not small lies, not harmless lies. He had lied with a straight face, with the same mouth that had promised her love and protection. His chest tightened. Everything soon began to feel like a punishment. He couldn't breathe properly. Then he decided to call his mother. She picked on the second ring. "My son," she said, voice bright. "Chuka, how are you?" He hesitated. Then he poured it out. Everything. The full truth. The meeting with Annabelle, the one weekend, the lies, the pregnancy, the hospital, the twins. When he finished, there was a short silence. He expected anger. He expected disappointment. Instead, his mother laughed, a small, satisfied laugh. "Ah," she said, "so it has happened." "Mommy," Chuka whispered, shocked. "This is not funny. I don't know what to do." "What do you mean you don't know what to do?" she replied, suddenly firm. "Chuka, you are now a man. You have sons. That is all that matters." He swallowed hard. "But Mira should be happy," Missy cut him. "Someone did what she could not do." The words hit him like a slap. He frowned. "That's not fair." "Life is not fair," his mother replied. "Listen to me carefully. Do not go and run your mouth with unnecessary confession. You hear me? Keep your mouth closed." Chuka's throat tightened. "I feel guilty," he admitted. "I feel like I'm dying inside." His mother made a sound of irritation. "Stop that," she said. "Guilt will not give you sons. You have what we all wanted. Now be smart." Chuka leaned against the wall. His mother's words did something. They gave him permission. Permission to pretend. Permission to keep walking forward as if his home was already cracking quietly behind him. He took a slow breath. "Okay," he muttered, more to himself. "Good," his mother said, satisfied. "Now go and be a father to your sons." Chuka ended the call and stared at the screen again. He should have been celebrating, but 2 days later, Annabelle and the boys were discharged. Chuka told himself he would be wise. He would handle it. He would keep things balanced. He would not let the secret swallow his life. At first, it was little things. Chuka started leaving home earlier than usual, coming back later, sometimes not coming back at all. When Mira asked, he always had an answer ready. Work pressure, emergency meetings, a sudden trip. And Mira believed him. Not because she was foolish, but because she believed her husband was now a changed man. Still, something felt off. Chuka was physically present sometimes, but his mind was far away. His laughter came late. His smile looked borrowed. Even when he held Zara and Zika, it felt like his hands were doing it out of duty, not joy. Soon, the fear of the last incident crept in, but Mira just watched him quietly. She didn't shout. She didn't accuse. She simply noticed. Then one night, as he fell asleep with his phone beside him, Mira stared at the phone like it was breathing. Her heart beat fast as she picked it up. She told herself she only wanted to confirm she was imagining things, only wanted to stop her mind from running wild. She checked his call log. nothing strange. She checked messages, nothing suspicious. No strange contacts, no romantic texts. For a moment, she felt relief. Maybe she was overthinking. She was about to drop the phone when her mind went to the gallery icon. She paused. Something in her tightened. She clicked it, and the world stopped. There were photos of Chuka with the twins, and then photos of him with another woman, Annabelle. Too close, too comfortable, too familiar. In one picture, Chuka's smile was wide, free, the kind she had not seen in months. In another, his arm was around Annabelle's waist like it belonged there. In another, the pose was compromising enough to remove every doubt. Mira's hand shook violently. Her throat closed. She covered her mouth with her other hand to stop herself from making a sound. Tears rolled down her face in hot silence as she stared at the proof. Not a suspicion anymore. Not a fear. A reality. That night, Mira cried until her chest hurt. Then she wiped her face, lay back down beside her husband, and did something that shocked even her. She said nothing. She decided she would not ask Chuka anything. Not yet. Because now she wasn't just hurt, but something in her has shifted. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and life was still normal. Chuka split his life into 2 houses, 2 worlds, 2 versions of himself. In Mira's home, he wore calm like a mask. He smiled, helped when he could, kissed Zara and Zika on the forehead, and spoke softly as if nothing was wrong. But his real attention had moved. Annabelle had his mornings, his nights, his time. The twins had his heart in a way he could not explain, and that alone made him even more reckless. He told himself he was only being responsible, only being a father, only doing what a man should do. Yet, every visit to Annabelle's house pulled him deeper. Mira watched it all quietly. She didn't argue, she didn't beg, she didn't fight for a man who was already half gone. She focused on her daughters, on her home, on the dignity that kept her standing. But inside, something was hardening. Then Annabelle's patience snapped. It happened one afternoon when Chuka and Annabelle were sitting in their living room. The twins were asleep. The television was on, but no one was watching. Annabelle stared at Chuka like a woman calculating. "Chuka," she said, voice low, "it's time for you to do the needful." He frowned. "Time for what?" She leaned forward. "Time for you to marry me." Chuka's chest tightened. "Annabelle." "Don't Annabelle me," she cut in. "I didn't carry your sons for nothing. I am doing this as your secret. I am not raising them as shadows." Chuka tried to talk calmly. "This is complicated." Annabelle's eyes flashed. "Complicated?" She laughed bitterly. "If you don't marry me officially, I will take the boys and disappear forever. You will never see them again." That threat grabbed Chuka by the throat. He went cold. He imagined it immediately, waking up to silence, calling and getting no answer, driving to her house and finding it empty, the boys gone, his sons gone. Fear pushed logic out of his head. Within days, Chuka made a decision. He married Annabelle quietly, and Mira knew nothing. Chuka continued coming home like a man who still had only one wife. He sat at Mira's table, ate her food, listened to Zika and Zara's stories, and acted normal. But his spirit was divided. And Annabelle wasn't satisfied. Marriage didn't soften her. It made her bolder. One evening, she started acting up, slamming things, speaking harshly, moving around the house like fire. Chuka finally asked, "What is your problem?" Annabelle faced him, eyes burning. "My problem is that you are still married to her." Chuka exhaled sharply. "Annabelle, you knew what this was." "I don't care what I knew," she snapped. "I can't be sharing my man with another woman. I am the one who bore your first sons. I have more rights than Mira." Chuka stared at her for a long, heavy second, then shook his head. "I can't breathe here," he muttered. He stood up, grabbed his keys and walked out. And he drove back to Mira's house. Not because he had chosen Mira, but because Annabelle's demands had become too loud to bear. The next morning, Chuka went into the bathroom to bathe. The shower turned on. Water ran. Mira sat on the bed, scrolling her phone, but her mind was sharp and restless, living in quiet pain, smiling for her daughters, acting normal for the world. Then Chuka's phone buzzed on the bedside table. Once. Mira's eyes moved instantly to it. Buzz. Again. Her heart kicked hard. She didn't even think. She reached for it quickly, expecting a romantic message from his baby mama. But what she saw was worse. Lines that made the air in her lungs disappear. Since you can't divorce her, then let's take her off the way silently. Else I would take our sons and disappear forever. Mira froze. Her fingers tightened around the phone until her knuckles went pale. She read the message again, and again. The words didn't change. Take her off the way silently. Her stomach turned. In that moment, Mira understood something clearly, something cold. Annabelle wasn't just fighting for Chuka. Annabelle was ready to destroy. Mira's eyes darted to the bathroom door. The water was still running, but she heard movement now. A shift, a footstep. Chuka was about to come out. Mira's body moved fast, almost without her. She deleted the message with shaking fingers, cleared it, and dropped the phone back exactly where it was, screened down as if it had never buzzed. She sat still. The bathroom door opened wider. Chuka stepped out, wiping his hair with a towel, relaxed. Mira forced her face into normal. Her chest was pounding so hard, she feared he would hear it. Chuka glanced at his phone casually. Did my phone ring? Mira lifted her eyes slowly. I don't know, she said, voice calm. I didn't check. Chuka nodded and picked it up. He didn't notice anything. He dressed and moved around the room like a man who had no idea his wife had just seen a message that threatened her life. When he was ready, he grabbed his keys. I need to step out, he said, just a few hours. Mira nodded. He left. The moment the door shut, Mira's calm collapsed. She covered her mouth to silence the sound that tried to escape her. Tears rushed down her face, not the loud kind, but the kind that carried terror, not heartbreak. Terror. She sat on the bed for a long time, staring at nothing. Then slowly, a different expression came over her face. Not softness, not sadness, something else, something decided. The next day, Mira packed her few of her things and that of the girls, then went to Chuka. Mira spoke gently, almost casually. My mom isn't feeling fine. I need to visit home with the girls. She needs my attention. Chuka didn't argue. Maybe because guilt made him tired. Maybe because he didn't want questions. Maybe because he was relieved she was going away. He nodded. Okay, travel safe. Mira smiled. Thank you, she said. She had once waited for Chuka to come clean, but now she understood. Truth wasn't coming and danger had already arrived, so she stopped waiting. 2 days after Mira left with the girls, Chuka's house felt strangely quiet. That night, he slept restlessly. Dreams came in broken pieces. Mira's face, the girls' laughter, Annabelle's eyes, 2 tiny boys crying in the dark. He woke up sweating, his heart racing, and could not explain why. Then it happened. At exactly 5 a.m., his phone rang. He grabbed it with sleepy irritation, then sat up sharply when he heard the caller's voice. A strange number. Her voice was loud, urgent, panicked. Chuka, Annabelle's house is on fire. For a second, Chuka didn't understand. Fire? He repeated, voice rough. Yes, people are outside. Come now. Chuka jumped out of bed so fast he nearly fell. His hands shook as he pulled on clothes, grabbed his keys, and rushed outside. The morning air hit him like a slap. He drove like a madman, ignoring speed, ignoring sense, praying under his breath without even knowing what he was praying for. When he reached Annabelle Street, he saw it. Smoke. Thick, black smoke rising like a curse into the early morning sky. Flames licked through windows. The crackling sound was loud, hungry, unstoppable. People gathered in clusters, shouting, pointing, crying. Some tried to throw water. Some stood frozen, helpless. Chuka's legs went weak. He pushed through the crowd. Annabelle! He screamed. Annabelle! No answer. Where are my boys? He shouted at anyone. Where are my sons? Someone grabbed his arm. Oga, you can't go in there. Chuka fought the hand off like a wild man. My sons are inside, he screamed, his voice breaking. Let me go. He tried to move forward, but heat slapped his face. The smoke hit his throat. The fire roared like a living thing. His knees buckled. When the fire service arrived, it was too late. By the time the flames calmed and people could enter, the street had gone quiet. The kind of quiet that happens when everyone already knows the ending. Chuka stood there, staring at the burned walls, staring at ashes that used to be a home. They didn't make it. Annabelle didn't make it. The twins didn't make it. Chuka's mouth opened, but no sound came out at first. Then a broken cry tore out of him, raw and painful. He sank to the ground like a man whose bones had suddenly disappeared. People held him, but he didn't feel their hands. He didn't feel anything. He drove back home later with swollen eyes and empty hands. The road blurred, not because of tears, but because his mind was no longer fully there. When he got home, he found Mira waiting. She returned the same day. Her face looked calm, tired, soft. Chuka stared at her like he didn't recognize her. "Mira," he whispered. She stepped closer, her voice gentle. "What's wrong?" Chuka's throat tightened. How could he speak? How could he explain fire, twins, secrets, a second wife, and death? So he did what he always did. He swallowed the truth. "Nothing," he muttered, forcing it out. Mira studied him quietly. Then he asked, "Where are the girls?" Mira smiled. "I left them with my mom, for bonding, just a little time." Chuka frowned, confused, still drowning. "But school?" Mira's smile didn't change. "It's just for a little while." Chuka nodded slowly, not because he understood, but because his brain was too broken to question her. He walked past her and collapsed onto the couch, like a man carrying a grave inside his chest. Mira watched him, and for the first time since this nightmare began, her eyes looked dry, not empty, dry. As if she had cried all her tears before returning, as if something else had replaced them.
A week after the fire, Chuka began to look wrong. His skin lost its color. His eyes sank. His body weakened faster than grief should allow. He started coughing at odd times, holding his chest as if something inside him was burning. Sometimes he would wake up in the night drenched in sweat, breathing hard like he had been running. Mira watched him quietly, always present, always calm, always gentle. Then the weakness became frightening. One morning, he tried to stand up and his legs failed him. He grabbed the wall, shaking, his breath coming in short, tight bursts. "Mira!" he called, panic cracking his voice. "Mira!" She rushed in, her face full of concern. "What is it?" she asked. I don't feel well," he said, struggling to speak. "I think we need to go to the hospital." Mira placed a hand on his shoulder like she was soothing a child. "Hospital will stress you," she said calmly. "Let a doctor come to the house. You need rest." Chuka swallowed, exhausted. He didn't have the strength to argue. He only wanted relief, only wanted to feel like himself again. So he agreed. The doctor came later that day. He checked Chuka and then prescribed drugs and advised rest, proper feeding, and less stress. Mira nodded politely, thanked him, and saw the doctor out. Chuka obeyed. He took the drugs, he tried to eat, he tried to sleep. But the illness kept climbing, like something inside him was not responding to medicine. His body began to feel like a stranger's. He grew weaker by the day. His hands trembled sometimes. His stomach tightened after meals. His chest felt heavy at night. And the fear that had been hiding behind his grief finally showed its face. One night, he sat up in bed suddenly, gasping. Mira turned quickly. "Chuka, are you okay?" Chuka's eyes were wide, wet. "Mira," he whispered, voice shaking. I don't think I will make it." Mira sat up slowly and stared at him. "What are you saying?" she asked, voice flat. Chuka swallowed hard. I feel it. My body, it's failing me. I think I'm dying." Silence sat between them. Then Mira smiled to herself and spoke, softly, almost like a secret. "I know." Chuka froze. His breathing stopped for a second. What? What did you say?" he asked. Mira blinked once, as if she had said something normal. "I said you need rest. Your mind is full right now. It's affecting you." She touched his arm gently. "Sleep," she said. "You'll feel better." Chuka lay back down, but he was in serious pain. The next morning, he called Mira to sit beside him. "Mira," he said, voice thin. "Come." She sat. He stared at her face for a long time, like he was seeing her clearly for the first time. "I don't think I'll survive this," he whispered. Mira's expression didn't change. "Stop talking like that," she said calmly. But Chuka's eyes filled with tears. "No," he said. "Listen, I need to tell you something before I go." Mira folded her hands on her lap. "I'm listening." Chuka swallowed painfully. I betrayed you, he began. I betrayed you in a way I can't fix. Mira stayed silent. Chuka's voice cracked. Annabelle got pregnant. His eyes squeezed shut as tears spilled. She had twins, 2 boys. Mira's face remained calm, almost blank. Chuka looked at her, desperate. I'm sorry. I was afraid. I lied to you. I tried to hide it. I even married her quietly. The words fell like stones. I'm sorry, he begged. Mira, please, forgive me. I know I don't deserve it, but please. For a moment, there was only Chuka's shaky breathing. Then Mira spoke. You are right, she said softly. You don't deserve it. Chuka blinked once, stunned. Mira, he whispered. Her voice stayed low, controlled. I knew, Chuka. His eyes widened. You knew? Mira nodded slowly. I knew. From the beginning, I saw the photos, I cried that night, and after that I stopped asking questions. Chuka's mouth opened, but no words came. Mira leaned forward slightly. I was going to leave with my girls quietly. I was going to disappear from your life and start again. Mira's gaze hardened. Not until I saw the message, asking you to divorce me or you should take me out silently. Chuka froze. Mira continued, voice steady. In that moment, I understood that it wasn't just betrayal, it was danger. And I decided I wouldn't wait to be the victim of someone else's plan. Chuka's chest rose and fell rapidly. Mira, what are you saying? Mira didn't flinch. I'm saying I handled it. Chuka's eyes filled with fear. Mira didn't flinch. She wanted to take my life. I refused to spare hers. Chuka shook his head weakly, overwhelmed. No, Mira. And for your information, I've already processed travel papers. The girls are safe. They are with my mother. By the time anyone notices anything, we'll be far. Chuka's breathing became ragged. His voice broke into panic. Mira, please, I'm begging you, help me. Mira looked down at him, and for the first time, her eyes carried something like pain. Can you forgive me too? She asked softly. Chuka tried to speak, but only a strained sound came out. His body shook. His hand reached toward her, trembling, desperate. Mira stepped back. Chuka's hand fell, and then the struggle stopped. The room went still. Mira stood there for a moment, listening to the silence, as if making sure it was real. She wept bitterly, and then she moved quietly. She took a few things. By the time the world would come knocking with questions, Mira would already be gone. And that was the most satisfying part of it. Because in the end, Chuka didn't lose Mira the day he cheated. He lost her the day he thought she would keep surviving in silence. Some betrayals don't just break trust, they break the person who trusted. Chuka thought a secret could be managed, so he kept lying, kept dividing his home, and kept calling it handling it. Mira thought silence could protect her, so she swallowed pain until it turned into something dark and irreversible. In the end, nobody truly won, because love without truth becomes a slow kind of destruction.
So besties, here is the moral. When home is built on lies, it doesn't collapse loudly. It rots quietly until one day it then burns. But tell me, when betrayal enters a marriage, what is the wise choice? To speak early and face pain? Or is it to keep quiet until the pain learns to fight back? Please share your thoughts below and let everyone learn from it. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to African Tales by Chinwa for more beautiful stories that teaches. Till next time, bye.